Hello ladies and gentlemen, it's the Historical Gamer once again, and today I'm going to be playing To End All Wars. It is the third part in my Let's Play series for this game, and was taken from a live stream I did on Twitch on the 26th of August, so we're already in the middle of this video, but let's go ahead and jump right back in. We're picking up right where we left off. It's the very start of turn 2 of the game. We've just launched our attacks into Alsace-Lorraine, but without any further ado, let's get back into it. Thanks for tuning in again. I can turn the volume off, you guys, which I think I'll do. It does include a volume control for music, if we look at that here. So there is a music volume control, which I have turned down so we don't hear that. But the sounds don't seem to have a control. Like, I probably fiddle with it in OBS, and maybe I'll do that for my next stream. But as far as that's concerned, that there really is no volume control for the sound effects. So we'll see if they get quicker. As you can see here, as we move down, we'll take a look here. Mulhouse, we click on this. We get a summary again that we won that battle. Let's see what other events occurred. The Kaiser's gold were sent to Turkey. So before World War I, Germany and Turkey drew closer together, or the Ottoman Empire is the more correct term. On August 2nd, 1914, while still affecting public neutrality, they signed a secret military alliance. And when the cannons started roaring in Europe, Turkey quietly demonstrated her support for Germany once it had received evidence of Germany's good intentions. 2 cruisers, which really one of them was a battle cruiser, and more than $5 million in gold. So basically the Germans bribed them into war. The event can only be played if the Ottoman Empire is still a neutral nation. So they move 10% closer to these Central Powers. Means we'll probably be fighting them before too long. We're into a diplomacy phase here and getting sides to declare war. We don't want to declare war, but basically we'll take a look at diplomacy here in a bit. More tutorials on diplomacy. I think I'm just going to try and wing it here. It gives you a good rundown, but I don't feel like reading 4 boxes of text while I've got you guys all watching. But yeah, there's a lot of information here as far as diplomacy is concerned. Let's see here. Are these new units? New units unlocked? Is that what that meant? So we've got the Egyptian Sirdar Garrison, it looks like, which is unlocked. Yeah, we got the Egyptian Garrison. I don't know if that means, I didn't see it say the Ottomans are at war with us. Did it? Did anyone see that? I think we can go check. Let's go up to the diplomacy box up here. So we go up to the Ottoman Empire. The Ottoman Empire, alignment, entity 23%, central power 77%. Military control, 100% Ottoman. So yeah, I guess they're not at war yet because they're not with the Central Powers, but it has unlocked our some of our British troops here. So I think what we'll do is we'll move this unit, whatever this is. It only has 11 firepower though. That's kind of silly here. Maybe whoa! I just merged 2 units by accident. Okay. So I guess we'll move the Egyptian garrison to Suez in case the Ottomans try and cross the Suez. They did historically. They made a pretty valiant march across the Sinai without losing a single man. And then they crossed the Sinai and the British were waiting and killed something like 1,200 of them. Anyway, so let's go ahead and go back to diplomacy first. It looks like, no, we've still got, our diplomats are already assigned. So it looks like, because these are shorter turns here, it's, you know, instead of just being a couple of weeks here, it doesn't look like we've got, yeah. Anyway, kind of losing focus here. I don't think I can counter-bribe the Ottomans as much as I'd like to, just to keep them out of the war. But I'm struggling. I don't know what to do at this point because the Germans are not invading through Belgium. It's kind of thrown my entire plan off. I've got all these troops assigned as if they will. I have the BEF, which I don't quite understand why the British Expeditionary Force is here if Belgium isn't being invaded. Belgium isn't at war. They're neutral. They're 100% Belgians, if you will. Can't be entered because they're neutral. So I guess we're going to use the rail movement and move the BEF into the offensives down here. I think we're going to move them into Bray. Then we can focus on, well, maybe we'll go for Metz. Yeah, we can move them into Bray, and then we can attack from Saint-Mihiel and Bray and attack toward Metz, hopefully successfully. So what we're going to do here is we're going to look, where is that rail movement? move by rail. There's an option here that lets us move by rail. You can see we've got 100 rail points, which apparently is enough to move them to Bray by rail. So it'll take 11 days, which is I mean, that's a pretty long distance to cover in 11 days. So at least we don't have to worry about that. And then I think I'm just going to move this unit up here, which was in Sedan. We're going to move them further south because there's no real reason to keep them up there if the Germans aren't going to invade through Belgium. It'll be interesting to see if maybe their war plans change as the war goes on, if they don't have any success. We'll move them into Verdun. That'll be closer to where they need to be. I don't see any reason to synchronize them. I can't move them by rail. I don't have enough points to do that. I've used up the majority of our points here. So we're just going to move that whole army down here. I think I just merged 2 units by mistake, but no real point in synchronizing their movements because they're not moving into a combat zone, so they can just move as is. We've got 1 unit here in Epinal, and again, they're moving. They should be in Colmar in 7 days. You can see the enemy here does have a unit. So I think what I'm going to do is maybe to try and reinforce them, I'm going to move the 8th Corps into Colmar as well. So hopefully they can come from these 2 different directions and hit the enemy pretty strongly. Meanwhile, the Premier Division is going to change its posture into a defensive posture, and we're going to go ahead and have a hold at all costs because I don't want to lose the ground that I've gained. It might be a little bit risky if the enemy comes at me with a strong force, but I'd rather go on to the defensive here and let's see here. Oh, wait, no, I've got to change the posture first. You've got to change the posture before you can change your actual orders here. So again, I'm going to move all of these units into the defensive postures and hold at all costs, with the exception of the 8th Corps, which is going to shift north to try and help the attack on Colmar. Hopefully it's enough. I don't really have, my intel says there's a enemy unit with 466 firepower. Doesn't tell me much else. We've got more than that, but if they've got multiple units that are stacked in there, then it might not be enough. So you can see here the 7th Corps, we need to change their posture to defensive, and again, hold at all costs, and the 13th as well. All right, so we're going to do that, and I don't want to launch an attack into Metz until the British Expeditionary Force arrives at Bray. It also should strengthen us from any German attack from Thionville. We've got another unit here in Longueuil, which will kind of form a solid line there. And then we've got our reserves here, which I'm going to keep our reserves back in the rear just because I don't want to commit them anywhere. You know, it's only been 1 turn. The Germans could certainly pull some treachery on us. It looks like the rest of our forces are mainly going to be locked from use still. So there's not a whole lot else for us to do. We can go into the decision mode. Doesn't look like we have any other decisions to choose from here. We might want to build a munition factory because one of the things that everyone was pretty much short on during World War I was ammunition for artillery. It ran out pretty quickly, and as I said here, artillery ammunition is simulated in this game here. So you can see there's supply stocks, you can supply or stockpile munitions in different areas or whatnot in different cities, and that makes logistics kind of important. We're going to go ahead and we're going to build 3 ammunition factories all around Paris because, again, if the Germans launch an offensive, I don't have a whole lot of confidence in my ability to stop them. We're going to go back to the recruitment screen. Units do have upkeep, so I've got to be careful not to overbuild, but I think with the Germans not launching offensives, it might be a good idea to raise some troops in kind of closer to the front. So I think what we'll do is we'll raise 1 more infantry division. Looks like we can raise that at Reims. And then I'll raise 1 reserve division, 2 reserve divisions. So that used up all my money before I was even paying attention. Huh. All right, so we're out of money again. So this is going to be probably a more fun game to watch from the Russian standpoint, but again, we're not the Russians. So also the way the game scores is it combines your score. If you're the Entente or Entente or whatever, it combines your score between the Western and the Eastern. So even though we're not commanding the Eastern, whether we win or lose is largely determined by that. We can also check the blockade box in the north. You can see we've got a cruiser here, and we've got the 2nd Fleet, which is a submarine fleet in the Atlantic blockade box. One other thing we may want to do, let's see here. There's a shipping box. Looks like the Germans have a fleet there. That's not good. What is that? They've got a fleet? Apparently a fleet escaped into the Atlantic shipping box. So that's bad. I don't know how strong the fleet is, though. So I have no idea what they've got down there. I think, why don't we, you know what, that's what we're going to do. We're going to take the battle cruiser fleet and we're going to send it into the Atlantic. It'll take 6 days, but we want to make sure we're keeping this blockade effective, and we don't want the Germans to just get out and start raiding our commerce. And then we also don't want to forget about the French, which I forgot about the first time around. We don't want to forget about them. So it looks like we've got transports, Mediterranean fleet. We're going to send the Mediterranean fleet into that blockade box as well, to make sure that they don't get out and start playing havoc. We'll send some cruisers in there. Hopefully they don't send a large force out or we'll be in a bit of trouble. So we've got that. And then I think we're also going to want to have some units in the Mediterranean shipping window just to make sure the enemy doesn't try and sneak some ships there as well. So we're sending 2 cruiser squadrons out to sea in the Mediterranean. And one other thing I think we should look at is the colonies. So the Germans have a force here in East Africa. Also got a force in Southwest Africa. Our troops are pretty much all locked, it would appear. So our South African army is locked. We can't bring them out to play. Our British East African unit looks too weak to attack Dar es Salaam. Lome might be attackable. We might be able to attack that from Lagos. Or the French. Looks like we've got some transport there. Colonial Brigade. I don't know how strong the German force is in Togo. I can't imagine it's very strong. So the South Nigerian garrison we're going to launch toward Togo. It's going to take 15 days. I'm hoping the enemy's not too strong, but we'll find out. We've got our West Indies squadron at sea. And then we should probably get to work hunting down Maximilian von Spee as well. I don't see where the Germans went, though. Are they actually in port? Huh. Interesting. What's our situation in Hong Kong here? So we've got a China squadron, which is a cruiser squadron, probably powerful enough to take on the Germans. I guess what we can do is we can, I don't know if moving them here will just blockade it. Let's see, it gives them a defensive posture, so we won't attack the enemy in the region. But if you are attacked, then you can provide. So it's kind of more like a recon rule, I guess. We'll change that to an offensive posture. And conservative attack or feint. Conservative attack. I don't know if that means we're going to bombard. I don't want to bombard, but I guess we'll see what happens here. So it doesn't look like there's much else we can do right now. So I think we're going to go ahead and end the turn. I think it's an interesting decision by Matrix or Ageod or whoever, whatever you want to call it, to release this game today. It was the 100th anniversary of the start of the Battle of Tannenberg, which was a brilliant German victory in eastern Prussia against the Russians, which is fitting now that this game has the Germans taking a Eastern Front approach, which could make this a very boring Let's Play. If it gets too boring, I think what I'll do is I'll probably stop it and maybe play as the Germans or something like that. Probably not today, though, but something that I'd definitely consider here. Hopefully the load times get a little bit better. I know that's one thing that turned a lot of people off to the kind of Pride of Nations game, if I'm calling that right. I have the game. I've never played it. Not really, anyway. Looks like we should be good to stream for a little bit longer. I've got I don't know if I call him a friend. I went to high school with him. I know him. He knows me. But playing in the U.S. Open, he'll be third up on court 5. But there's still the match before him, just got started, so we should be good for maybe another hour or so of streaming today before we cut the stream off. I'm also going to chop this up, so if you have to leave and this looks interesting to you, I'll probably chop this up into a few pieces and then put this on YouTube over the next couple of days. So that's kind of my plan for this. I'm recording it in a little bit higher quality using Fraps while I'm doing the stream in OBS. I hope the stream looks okay, guys. If it doesn't, let me know. I'm only uploading at about a megabit per second, so I could probably increase that a little bit. I've got 5 up, but generally the actual what you can actually use for your upload effectively, where you can maintain a solid connection the entire time so you're not dropping frames, is much less, normally around 1.5 for me, but I figured 1 should be enough for a game like this as I talk through these load times. I'm hoping they get better. It's still early, so maybe they will, but that might be something that could get improved. I've got a reasonable processor. It's not an underpowered computer. I've got an i5. It's a Sandy Bridge, so it's a few years old, but I've got tons of RAM, and you know, graphics cards don't matter for this game, so it should be fine. All right, here, things are starting to move. That doesn't look good. I saw our firepower go down, so hopefully... all right, so we've got a battle. It's taking place in Colmar, so... I'm not sure if everyone's... Well, that's weird. So I don't know what this means, if anything. Can you, like, zoom in and see what the enemy has? Doesn't look like it. So our estimated power is at 973. The enemy's estimated power is at 441. So let's hope that's accurate, because if it is, we should be all right. I think what we want to do is, do we want to try and flank the enemy, or do we want to attack him head on? Do we want to have a strong center or a flank? I think we'll try and flank him. And we've got different options we can choose. So this is what happens when you've got a battle and you've got an enemy commander. You can choose your general organization. So, for example, a strong center, strong flanks, harass the enemy, or balanced deployment. If you have a balanced deployment, the only war plan option is a balanced stance. If you have strong flanks, for example, you can do a crossfire, which kind of looks like you try and draw the enemy in and then fire into their flanks, or you can envelop their flank, which will increase attack values. But if it fails, we have a heavy chance to increase our getting targeted. If you do a strong center, you can launch an infantry assault, a wave assault, or massed fire. I think in this case, I'm going to do massed fire to attempt to overwhelm the enemy. If our firepower is much higher than the enemy, then massed fire will probably be our best chance. I think they have a fort, but it says it's wooded terrain. We don't get to know what the enemy has. I think different levels of recon, so planes and zeppelins and things like that, can improve your understanding of what the enemy has. It does say the commander-in-chief of the enemy army is better than your leader. That's the reason why you cannot see the info about their deployment. So that sucks. Looks like he's a 330 versus a 313, so I don't know what that last number is, but hopefully we win here. We'll see. French victory! Vive la France! And we lost 3 times what the enemy did, so that's not good. But you can see here we outnumbered the enemy almost 3 to 1, 119,000 men versus 298. We lost 10,000 casualties, no horses, no artillery. They lost 3,600 casualties, but they were pushed from the field. So it probably has to do with my very aggressive attacking stance here. You can see some of our men showed signs of cowardice under fire from the enemy, so it may just be because they were new infantry units. You know, they haven't had experience. There's also the battle occurred when the attacker crossing a river, so that's probably also why we lost so many casualties here. Those are the only 2 things that look new that stood out as far as the results. But as it is, we won another victory here, and yeah. So we took Colmar. That's good. Looks like the enemy's forming up a really strong army near Morgenthau, 1,800. No, over 2,000. So I'm going to guess the enemy's going to launch some counterattacks near Colmar before too long. And it looks like there's some sea battles going on, but I'm not sure what's happening. We don't have any kind of indication what's happening. I need to know. Okay, it's still processing. I wonder what the enemy is going to do. If I was the enemy, I would probably... If they've got 2 large armies here, I'd take one in and move it toward Moselle, and then I'd move another toward the Vosges, with keeping a kind of a weaker force in the front and threatening to cut off the enemy. I think that would make sense. You'd cut the enemy's supplies if you could take Epinal and Beaufort, and then you'd also potentially bag these in 2 entire armies. But we'll see. The enemy's got a huge army here near Strasbourg. It looks like they're swinging it south. We saw there's another large army near Morgenthau. So we've taken the southern portion of Alsace-Lorraine, but we haven't made any progress here in the north. Interestingly enough, oh wow, we got over 1,200 firepower at Metz. But interestingly enough, it looks like Thionville was left. It looks like they pulled a unit out of Thionville, so we could move. I think we're going to do that. I think we're going to launch 1 army into Thionville, and I don't know what my total strength is here. I don't think we're strong enough to take Metz yet. We've got, 170, 185, 192, and then 300, so I can't do math. What is that, 5, 7, probably just shy of 900, and then we've got another 500 from the British, so not enough, but You can see here this unit's still moving south. It'll arrive at Verdun before too long. And I think we should move our reserve army into the Vosges Mountains. I don't know if there's any. It doesn't look like there's any way to get them there via rail. So you know what we'll do is we'll move this reserve army forming near Toul. Looks like place to Toul. That's Garrison. So we've got a small force here in Toul. I think that's actually this troop. Maybe these troops moving from the north. So maybe we'll keep them. I don't know. I don't know what's going on. I'm having trouble grasping the strategic picture, so we're probably in trouble. We've got, let's see how many rail points we've got. Current 200, maximum 200. I don't know why that disappeared then. I think what we'll do is move these guys by rail into Nancy, so we've got a strong force there. So if the enemy does attack into either of these territories, we've got something to counter them with. I don't want to put them right on the border, though. There's no forts there. It would seem kind of pointless to do that. So we'll remove the reserve du GHQ. Looks like we can move them by rail, so it should only take 3 days. And then we'll move the 55th Reserve Division as well. Or we cannot do that because they're locked. They're static or very slow. Keep it in this region. Okay. So, yeah, we've met with some success the first 2 turns. We've taken Colmar and Mulhausen. We might be able to advance on Freiburg. It would probably prompt a German reaction to see troops actually moving into mainland Germany, if that's what you want to call it. I have no idea what's happening on the Eastern Front. The Russians could still be mobilizing. We haven't gotten any kind of indication. I'm assuming we'll get some kind of press notices and battles are fought and things like that. It doesn't seem totally cool to be 100% in the dark. Maybe if we can zoom out here, we can... I don't know if we can see Russian units because they're our allies. So, military. So it looks like the Germans have advanced into Russia here because you can see these regions have become Russian as opposed to, or German as opposed to Russian, being controlled by the Central Powers. They've taken Kowano, Vasilov, Slovakia, and Rozhny. So that's not good. The Russians are losing ground. They've lost Novogorsk. I'm assuming that's, again, what these little German Iron Cross figures look like on top of the Russian border, essentially. Doesn't look like the Austrians have done a whole lot. Maybe they've lost Dubno. It's been pillaged. So it looks like the Austrians may have launched an attack and then were driven back here because there's no indication that the Austrians have taken any of this territory. So that's good. We're not getting much in the way of any information back from our diplomats. So I assume they're still there. So we can right-click. Oh, shoot. No, I didn't want to enter decision mode. We've got 1 diplomat. Keep them in Japan. We want to make sure that they join us. But we don't have any other options here. It looks like these research categories just kind of happen or something like that. So there's not a whole lot going off map. I don't know why it was showing me things happening Navy-wise when it doesn't seem like anything's happened Navy-wise. I'm not sure. These troops are still moving into Togo. And again, we don't have enough troops to do anything with German Cameroon or German East Africa. Or really German Southwest Africa, so that's kind of lame at the moment. I don't know if this flotilla lost a bunch of ships. It looks like they've lost some firepower here. Maybe I shouldn't have them on an attack course. I don't know what I'm doing Navy-wise. I don't have a clue, and the game could improve on its description of what's going on. With regards to the Navy. It looks like you can unload troops, you can launch a bombardment. I don't think we probably have a strong enough fleet to launch a bombardment. So we'll just choose Navy interception. So that means we'll intercept the enemy if they attempt to leave port. Which again, I don't have any clue where they're at. The Bismarck Islands. Still got this French transport fleet out here. I'm not sure what it's gonna... Does it even have troops on board? Is there any way to see 1 transport ship? Doesn't look like it's got anything on board. So, yeah. I don't know what we want to do with that. I guess we can just send it back to Saigon. Maybe they'll pick some troops up there or something like that. In Sydney, do we have any naval? So we've got some Australian troops being raised there, and we've got a battle fleet in Australia as well. We'll move them out into the Pacific for a bit. They've got some pretty good firepower there. They've even got a battle cruiser. Probably the HMS Australia, maybe? Yeah. Oh, yeah. I guess, was it HMS if they were colonial ships? That I don't know. So pretty much all these garrison troops are locked. Got a scouting squadron. And yeah, so anyway, looks like not much happening outside of the European theater. The enemy troops at Strasbourg are simply too strong for us to attack. Now, as time moves on, the enemy's going to grow more and more entrenched. So this initial success we've had, while great, may not be happening quick enough. I've got troops en route. I've got troops being raised. None of my new troops are available yet, although they should be very shortly. And I think I'm going to launch this army into Thionville, because it doesn't look like the enemy has much in the way of an army there. In fact, it doesn't look like they have an army at all. So it might take a few days to get in there, but it allows us to kind of take another enemy objective, even if it's not part of Alsace. I think it's part of the Rhineland. So we're moving the 2nd, the 17th, 2nd, 17th, 12th, and then the army there, as well as a colonial force here. And we'll keep our kind of recon. I guess we can move our recon unit with them. So then we're going to go ahead and make sure that we change their posture to assault at all costs. I think that's our best route, as being the, fighting with the French, is that we do the attack at all costs. And this is not part of my initial strategy. My initial strategy is just to try and follow the French plan of taking Alsace-Lorraine, but in this case, it's kind of a target of opportunity. And one thing that was really different about the French plans versus the Germans, the French were much more flexible. The German war plan was all about things occurring in a specific hard timeline. Everything kind of had to occur within a certain amount of days or everything would fall apart. The French kind of had a general direction of, we need to attack in this general area, but they were much more free to kind of do things as opportunities opened up, essentially. So we've got that done. I guess in this case, this turn's mainly going to be a recruiting turn. We've got an army down here as well, a reserve army down south, and we've also got an army that's tied up here near the Alps, near Grenoble. So I think we can move this force north, maybe to reinforce. I think reinforcing Colmar would be ideal. I don't know if we can move all the way up to Colmar. It'll take 25 days. It looks like we can move by rail and get there in 4 days. So I'm moving him into Colmar because I'm worried that the Germans are going to counterattack from Strasbourg. Again, that's going to open me up to a flanking attack, but I don't think the Germans, given their war plan is more defensive in nature, I don't think they'll be that aggressive. So we'll keep that other force to the south. That's locked anyway, so we can't do anything with them. We're raising some reserves in actually, these must be our new units. They look like they're ready. So, or maybe not. Oh, these are our new units. These are being raised. That makes sense. That's why we can't move them. So we'll kind of merge these units together and keep track of it. Looks like we've got a reserve artillery unit, which is still being raised too. So those forces are all here. Probably want to assign a commander to them. I don't know how you do that. I don't want to lock them. How do you assign a general? Probably go in decisions, right? New general. What do I do here? I don't know what I'm doing. Does anyone know how to assign a general? This could be easier, figuring out what I'm doing. No. 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 So maybe we just won't assign a new general? 3 engagement points and 300 state funds. This decision must target an off-map diplomacy region. What? Unlock 6 generals for the use in this nation. So we've got to go to a diplomacy region to get new generals? Okay. War weariness affects all nations and gradually erodes popular support for the war as time goes by. Why did we do that? I don't want war weariness. No. There's got to be a propaganda or something that we can pull up later. But anyway, so those troops are being raised. We got reserve force that's still moving. So yeah, I think that's about... We're not going to do anything exciting. We're attacking Thionville, but I don't think we'll get there this turn. It says 10 days, so we'll see if it actually takes 10 days. We'll go ahead and end the early September turn. Looks like quite a few of you are sticking with me, so I do appreciate this. I'm going to try and probably stream again either late tonight or maybe early tomorrow. I'm not done yet or anything. I'll probably do it for another hour or so. But just as a heads up, I may stream really, really late tonight. So if there are Europeans who maybe can meet that time frame better, that might work. You know, maybe like 3 a.m. Central to 5, although I guess that would still be early morning for them, so it wouldn't really work all that well. Early morning to midday. But we'll see. And I'll probably stream tomorrow as well. I will, you know what, if you're looking for times, follow me on Twitter at Historical Gamer, or is it at The Historical Gamer? Let me check, because I don't know exactly. My schedule's kind of in flux right now. Today's my first day of classes for the new semester. Yeah, at Historical Gamer. I should know my Twitter by heart, shouldn't I? Whoa, screen just went black. What just happened? I don't know what just happened. It looks like it's loading. I hope I didn't just lose the game. I don't know what happened. It's showing me a loading symbol, right? That can't be bad. There we go. Okay, it's back. Don't worry. The Germans just nuked us. That's what happened. They just dropped tactical nukes all over France. Okay, so what happened? Battle of Lomme. We lost. We attempted to attack. They have 13,000 troops in Togo. I don't buy that. That's bull crap. The Germans had like 1,000 German citizens there. They wouldn't have had that many people. But anyway, it's our first defeat. We lost over 4,000 men. We're driven back. Lame. No, it was our anti-ballistic missile defense. It took out the German nukes, but there was an EMP which dropped our signal for a bit. British victory. So the Germans attacked us? Wait. I didn't tell the British to go into Thionville, did I? Alright, well, whatever. British Expeditionary Force. Yay, we had 180,000 men. We lost 9,800 and 200 horses. The enemy lost 12,600 men and 24 cannons. So we've taken Thionville. That might be a problem, though, because I didn't think I told the British to go there. And the enemy is attacking at Colmar, it looks like. So you can see here, because our general is better than the enemy general, we can see kind of what the enemy plans are. They can do an infantry assault, a wave assault, or massed fire. In our case, I think we're just going to meet a balanced offensive because we've got a significant advantage in terms of manpower. I don't think the AI coordinated this attack well. So we'll do a balanced defensive and a balanced attack, or whatever. And we should win this one pretty comfortably. Yep, French victory. Looks like the enemy had quite a few men there. They had 113,000, but we had over 300,000, so outnumbered 3-1. The enemy lost more than double our casualties and lost one airplane, it looks like. 48 airplanes, they lost one. How did we shoot it down? I don't know. It must have just crashed on its own because we don't have any airplanes in this unit. So it was a pretty weak enemy attack, but again, we outnumbered them 3-1. So that's good. Looks like they may attempt to retake Colmar, though, so sending those reinforcements there could be a good decision, sending the troops via rail. Maybe they are exaggerating. Definitely think that number is off, though. There's no way the Germans had 13,000 soldiers, even with colonials in Togo. I just don't buy it. So new turn ready. It's late 1914 here. You can see we can see the battles of Colmar, Thionville, and Togo, which ended there. So we've got troops retreating, I would assume, back to... You can see here they're... these bars, by the way, I haven't mentioned it, but above this little envelope on the icon here, bars mean different things. I believe green means supply, red means strength, and I don't know what the far right one means. But basically our troops are not anywhere near full strength and are withdrawing. I'd really like to take the offensive in the colonies, but I don't want to draw troops away from the main front. So we're going to wait on doing that. You're right. It must have been because our British troops had an aggressive stance, so they joined the French attack on Thionville, which is good for us because it allowed us to win pretty comfortably. The enemy has still a very strong force in Metz. I'm not sure what I should do now. I could take a big risk and drive through Lorient and maybe try and outflank Metz. We can somehow get into Morgenthau and Lorient. We can kind of cut off German supply to Metz. Actually, we may have already cut the supply because we got the rail line by taking this. By taking the city, we've cut the rail line to Metz. I don't know if that's gonna cut off their supply or not, but I hope it does because that'd be nice. We don't have any rail supply into Mulhausen though, so it looks like these troops are all in pretty good spirits, pretty strong. I don't think we've got enough troops though to attack Strasbourg. The enemy's pulled out of, or looks like they pulled out of Sarrebruck and Morgenthau, or for the most part. They may have aggressive stances in Metz so that they may respond to any attack on those cities, but it's certainly a tempting idea of going into Morgenthau or Sarrebruck, so I think maybe that's what I should do. Or I could launch a combined three-way attack on Metz. I might have enough troops for that. All right, folks, I'm going to go ahead and cut in here for a moment and end this clip of the stream. We've still got about another hour and a half, or no, about another hour of footage here from this first live stream from the 26th. So I'm going to break that probably into 2 more pieces and post those separately, but I don't want to just throw a 2-hour-long video in, so we're going to go ahead and jump in here and end this episode 3 of my Let's Stream or Let's Play for To End All Wars. And I appreciate you tuning in and watching. If you like this, please stay tuned for the follow-on videos, which will generally, I think I'm going to post one every other day, so not every day, but every other day. So look for the next part in 2 days, not tomorrow, but the day after. I may post something in between, maybe bring back up the Commander series or whatnot, something like that. But anyway, thanks for tuning in again, guys, and until next time, this is the Historical Gamer signing out.